Ever wonder why you might soon be able to type an email just by thinking about it?
And I wonder, what happens when your boss can read the email you decided not to send?
Okay, Dad, I know that sounds like something out of a dystopian movie, but let's start with the reality. For millions of people, this technology isn't a threat, it's a miracle. We're talking about brain-computer interfaces, or BCIs, and they're about to change everything for people with severe paralysis.
There are two main approaches right now. You have invasive BCIs. Then there are less invasive methods, like the one from a company called Synchron. In early 2024, the first human patient to receive Neuralink's implant was able to control a computer mouse just by thinking.
He played chess online. This isn't about enhancement, it's about restoration. For millions of people, this technology isn't a threat, it's a miracle. We're talking about brain-computer interfaces, or BCIs, and they're about to change everything for people with severe paralysis. It's one of the most profound applications of technology I've ever seen. How can that be a bad thing?
Because that bridge, Alex, is a two-way street. And we haven't built any toll booths or guardrails yet.
Let's start with the most obvious risk: privacy and security.
If your brain is connected to the internet, it can be hacked. We are talking about the last frontier of privacy, your own mind.
Then there's the question of autonomy and responsibility.
Our legal system is built on the concept of intent, but it has no framework for dealing with a blend of human thought and machine interpretation.
And that leads to an even deeper question: personhood. What happens to your identity when a piece of corporate hardware is a literal part of your consciousness? What happens when they become enhancements, not just therapies? Will we create a new form of inequality? A cognitive divide?
These aren't just technical hurdles, Alex. These are fundamental questions about fairness, privacy, and what it means to be human.
You're right. Those risks are real. But the answer can't be to just stop.
Technically, it starts with security by design. We need new, incredibly robust encryption standards specifically for neural data.
Companies in this space have to be held to a higher standard.
But the seatbelt here isn't just technical, it's legal and ethical. This isn't just another piece of personal data, it needs its own set of rights and protections.
So it's a team sport. The technologists can build the secure hardware.
But they need the policymakers to create the legal framework and the ethicists to help navigate the gray areas.
We have to, because if we get this wrong, the consequences are irreversible. But if we get it right, you're right, Alex, it could be a miracle.
When you see a patient able to communicate with their loved ones for the first time in years,
And when you consider the power to connect a human mind to the vastness of digital information, you realize we're on the cusp of redefining human potential itself.
The question is no longer, can we connect our brains to computers? But how will we choose to do it? What ethical rule would YOU create for brain-computer interfaces? Let us know in the comments. Subscribe for more Ever Wonder Why.
Leaving doubt behind, from the stars up high to the depths below. There's a story waiting just for us to know. Ever wonder why? Let's find out together, through the highs and lows, in any kind of weather. Ever wonder why? The answers are near. Join the journey, let's make it clear.